someone to hear you.
Back in 2005, when there were congressional hearings about why Dyncorp and Halliburton were running child kidnapping rings, kidnapping women, tens of thousands of men, flying them around the world to slave camps at brick factories. And that's Chicago Tribune right here. And I walked out of P.F. Chang's Chinese restaurant, and Dyncorp's headquarters was down the street. I was going to my car, and I saw these cops standing around laughing. One of them was a commander. And I said, gentlemen, have you read the news? Have you searched it about Dyncorp, that building right there, running giant child kidnapping rings worldwide? And the cops just laughed at me, and it was real funny. And they said, yeah, Jones, I do work for them. And I don't know what that meant, but it was real. It was like 5, 6 cops. It was very funny. No, you see, it's not funny. And the fact that they're going to take your pension funds isn't going to be funny. And the fact that they're going to put all these taxes on our economy and destroy our future isn't funny. You think globalists that kill over 1 million Iraqis the last 7 years are a joke? You think your butt is worth anything to them? It's worth as much as those Iraqis. And I know there are great police officers out there. They email us, they send us information, they send us documents. But, I mean, I'm not up here risking my life to play games, okay? What we're talking about is true. Give me a document cam shot on this. Chicago Tribune, U.S. stalls on human trafficking. Pentagon has yet to ban contractors from using forced labor. 3 years ago, President Bush declared that he had zero tolerance for trafficking in humans by the government overseas contractors, and 2 years ago, Congress mandated a similar policy. But notwithstanding the president's statement and the congressional edict, the Defense Department has yet to adopt a policy to bar human trafficking. The biggest names is Dyncorp International and Halliburton subsidiary KBR. Both have been linked to traffic-related concerns, and it goes through it. Here's one. Dyncorp and Halliburton sex slave scandal won't go away, and that's got the AP article. That's got the congressperson asking him, grilled Secretary Rumsfeld and General Myers on the Dyncorp scandal. We can play this video, but here's the text. Mr. Secretary, I watched President Bush deliver a moving speech at the United Nations in September 2003 in which he mentioned the crisis of the sex trade. The president called for the punishment of those involved in the horrible business, but at the very moment of the speech, Dyncorp was exposed for having been involved in the buying and selling of young women and children. While all of this was going on, Dyncorp kept the Pentagon contract to administer the smallpox and anthrax vaccines and is now working on a plague vaccine to the Joint Vaccine Acquisition Program. Mr. Secretary, is it the policy of the U.S. government to reward companies that traffic in women and little girls? The response in McKinney's comeback was as follows. Thank you, Representative. First, the answer to your first question is no, absolutely not. The policy of the United States government is clear, unambiguous, and opposed to the activities you described. The second question. McKinney, well, how do you explain the fact that Dyncorp and its successor companies have received and continue to receive government contracts? Rumsfeld, I would have to go and find the facts, but there are laws and rules and regulations with respect to government contracts, and there are times that corporations do things that they should not. Oh, it's just something they shouldn't do, in which case they tend to be suspended for a period. There are times that under the laws and the rules of the regulations for the passed by the Congress and implemented by the executive branch, that corporations can get out of the penalty box, if you will, and will be permitted to engage in contracts with the government. They're generally not barred in perpetuity. McKinney, that's correct. This company was never in the penalty box. She says this company was never in the penalty box. Rumsfeld, I'm advised by Dr. Chu that it was not the corporation that was engaged in the activities you characterized, but I'm told it was an employee of the corporation. It was some years ago. Oh, really? We now have the ruling by a court by the employees that sued that it was directed. Here's Salon. Sex slave whistleblower vindicated. 2 former employees of Dyncorp, the government contract powerhouse, have won legal victories after charging that the $2 billion a year firm fired them when they complained that coworkers were involved in Bosnian sex slave trade. Here's another headline. This is out of Corp Watch. U.S. sex scandal still haunts Dyncorp. UN child sex slave scandal continues. BBC. It goes on and on. UPI. I mean, Dyncorp may get chance to win $1.6 billion trading contracts, and now they're the big CPS contractor. Dyncorp people that kidnap kids and women worldwide and take them to unbelievable, in some cases, death, they are your CPS workers now. Because I've read the statistics, more than 50% of CPS workers quit within 1 year. They go thinking they're going to help kids and are in a pedophile ring and go, my God, I better get out of here. So they just said, well, we'll just bring in the Dyncorp boys. A lot of them are foreigners. We've had British members of Parliament on about how most of the contractors there are foreigners. And they just bring in hardcore sickos, man, and they are here. And then they don't have courts, laws, nothing, and they just call in the SWAT team. Get in here. These parents aren't handing the kid over. I got a flight. I got to put this kid on in 1 week. I need you here to get him. You understand? Get here.